morning. This is Michael Hale from RedZone Radio, and we're coming on a little more serious than we usually do for St. Patrick's Day morning. We've been getting scattered reports over the last half hour from around Manhattan. Nothing officially confirmed yet, but enough calls, enough messages, enough weird scanner chatter that we need to start paying attention. If you're just waking up, yes, today is still Parade Day. Yes, Fifth Avenue was supposed to be filling up early, and yes, most of New York probably expected the usual mix of bad traffic, green hats, too much beer way too early, and somebody doing something dumb for the internet. But this morning feels off.
Yeah, we don't want to make this bigger than it is, and we definitely don't want to help turn internet nonsense into citywide panic, but there are too many similar reports coming in from too many different neighborhoods. Hell's Kitchen, Midtown, up near Columbus Circle, some near the parade staging areas too. A lot of people are describing fights, property damage, and people in green clothing acting aggressive.
Which, on St. Patrick's Day in New York, is not exactly impossible to believe. Let's keep it grounded. There are 1,000 reasons people get weird on a morning like this. Drunk before breakfast, costume stunts, social media challenge, flash mob, bad publicity thing, somebody filming a prank nobody asked for. We've seen all of it.
Sure, but I'm looking at the text board right now, and what's weird is how many people are describing the same details without knowing each other. Green clothes, small size, a lot of strength, quick movements. Some people are saying they thought they were kids at first.
Okay, and right there is where I think New York's imagination starts doing what New York's imagination does after a holiday night. We had bars open late, people still out, tourists packed in, and now everyone's trying to be the first person with a crazy story.
You saying New Yorkers exaggerate?
I'm saying no one in this town has ever described anything calmly in their life.
Fair.
All right, let me read this clean. NYPD traffic units are redirecting pedestrians near parts of Columbus Circle. Scanner traffic, and again, scanner traffic is messy, mentions multiple assaults by suspects in green clothing, unusually aggressive. That is the language being repeated, unusually aggressive. We also have reports of disturbances near a couple Irish pubs in Hell's Kitchen, one of them saying their front windows were smashed during some kind of altercation before 8.
I've got a message from someone who says, quote, saw a leprechaun at McGee's pub flip a bouncer, thought I was still drunk. That one got sent in about 11 times by different people, which is either the same joke spreading or something else.
Right, which brings us to the annual St. Patrick's Day tradition of everyone becoming a playwright by sunrise.
We do have our first caller lined up.
All right, let's hear it. You're on RedZone. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Brooklyn, and listen to me, please, because I know how this sounds, and I know you're going to think I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. We were opening the bar, okay? My brother owns an Irish pub, and these things came in right after we unlocked. They were little, like maybe 3 feet, 3.5 feet, and they were dressed like storybook people. Dark green coats, tiny hats, those shoes with the shiny buckles, and they hit Frank, our bouncer, so hard he went over a table.
Ma'am, let me slow you down for a second. When you say little, do you mean children, teenagers, little adults?
I mean not children, not normal people. Their faces were wrong. I don't know how to say it better than that. Old, but not old. Mean, like they were smiling before they even touched anybody.
How many were there?
3 at first, then I think 5. They moved so fast I couldn't count right. One jumped on the bar, jumped like straight up, no running start, and started grabbing necklaces off people. Gold chains, wedding rings, anything shiny and gold. My brother tried to hit one with a stool, and it laughed at him.
All right, did anyone call the police?
Yes, and they told us units were tied up all over. They said we weren't the only ones. That's why I'm calling you. I heard you talking like this is just drunks. It's not drunks.
Did anybody get seriously hurt?
Frank's shoulder is bad. One woman's hand got cut when they pulled her ring off, and they kept saying things, weird little rhymes, like taunting us.
Rhymes?
Yes, like children's verse, but nasty. Then they bolted out the door. One of them looked back at me and smiled, like he knew I wouldn't be believed.
All right, stay inside, keep your doors locked. If you haven't already, get medical help for the injured and keep trying emergency services. We appreciate the call.
stop joking about this.
Understood.
That sounded real.
Fear always sounds real. Doesn't make the explanation supernatural.
You said supernatural. I didn't.
Because I know what everybody listening is already thinking from the outfits and the timing and the holiday, and I'm telling you right now, no, we are not doing that at 8 in the morning.
Fine, but we are doing this. There's definitely something unusual happening.
That part I'll give you. Let's go to some listener messages. Near 8th Avenue, saw two tiny guys in green shove a delivery driver off his bike. Another says heard screaming outside a bar, came out, thought it was street performers fighting. Another one, my cousin says police are telling stores with jewelry displays to keep shutters down. Now that's interesting.
Why jewelry specifically?
If you're doing smash and grab robberies in costume, jewelry's where the money is.
Here's another scanner note. Backup requested near Columbus Circle. Coordinated disturbances. That coordinated keeps coming up.
Yeah, I don't love that word. Disorder, I understand. New York disorder is practically a civic mascot. Coordinated is a different animal.
We've got another caller.
All right, you're on RedZone. Tell me what you saw.
I'm uptown near the parade route. I work mornings at a coffee place, and when I got there were already cops on the corner. Not a ton, but enough that people were staring. Then this guy, well, I thought it was a guy, ran between two parked vans. Too small. Way too small. He had green on, and he was carrying something shiny in both hands, like bracelets or watches. A cop yelled at him to stop, and he looked back and hissed. I know how that sounds.
Did the officer catch him?
No. That's the weird part. He went under a delivery truck, not crouched under it, like he folded and slid under it. Then he popped out on the other side and was gone into the crowd. People started shouting, and then there were more of them. I only saw 3, maybe 4. Everyone started running.
When you say more of them, same outfit?
Same style, yeah. Green coats, old-fashioned, like parade mascots from hell.
Skeptical. Did they attack people directly?
I saw one jump at a man and tear a chain off his neck. Another knocked over one of those metal barricades like it was cardboard.
Metal parade barricades?
Yes, I know what I saw.
Okay. Appreciate the call. Stay somewhere secure if you can.
You need to tell people not to come into the city.
We hear you.
That's 2 callers, different boroughs, same details.
Similar details, similar enough to make me cautious, not enough to make me insane.
Fair. We've also got reports from around Hell's Kitchen, where several pubs were opening early for parade traffic, saying groups in green forced their way in and targeted anything gold-colored. That is strange.
Gold-colored? Not cash registers?
Some took watches, chains, rings, decorative shamrocks if they were metallic, even a gold-painted beer tap handle, according to one text.
Okay, now that sounds like idiots committed to a theme.
Themed violence. Great.
Let me be clear for people heading out. If you're coming into Manhattan for parade events, maybe slow that plan down for a bit. Give it an hour. Check official alerts. Don't bring kids into crowds until we know what's going on. If this is some organized stunt or a gang thing or a wave of coordinated robberies, the last place you want to be is pressed up shoulder to shoulder with strangers while everyone's already drinking.
And if you're a business owner opening early this morning, lock up any jewelry displays, keep staff together, and don't engage anyone trying to start something.
We've got a brief city emergency notice coming through. This is not a full emergency takeover, just a local advisory relayed to stations. We're going to read it as received. NYPD advises heightened caution in Midtown and along parade-adjacent corridors due to multiple fast-moving disturbances. Citizens should avoid confrontations and report coordinated assault activity immediately. So there it is. Coordinated assault activity. That's stronger language than I expected this early.
We also have our producer in my ear telling us a staff member's cousin in Boston called and said they're hearing almost identical stories there.
Boston.
And Chicago.
All right, that changes things a little. Not a lot, but a little, because random street chaos in New York is one thing. Different cities, same costume description, same aggressive behavior, same obsession with gold. That's either an internet-fueled copycat event that spread overnight faster than anybody realized, or something none of us are explaining correctly yet.
You hear yourself, right?
I do. I still don't like the alternative.
Neither do I.
Another text. My aunt says one of them spoke to her outside a pawn shop and told her, "Gold you keep is gold we take." Okay, that's unsettling, but also very theatrical.
Theatrical doesn't make it fake.
No, it doesn't. Here's what we're going to do. We're staying on this. If you're calling in, keep it clean and factual. Location, time, number of individuals, what they were wearing, whether anyone was injured, whether police or EMS responded. Don't give me your cousin's friend's barber's internet rumor. Give me what you saw. And if you're making this up for holiday laughs, save it. There are enough people scared already.
There's one more thing. This started as jokes. It doesn't sound like jokes anymore.
No, it doesn't.
And we are still not saying we know what this is.
Correct. We do not know what this is. We know people are being attacked. We know multiple witnesses are describing very short suspects in green, old-fashioned clothing. We know there's unusual strength being reported. We know police are asking for backup in multiple places. Beyond that, it's rumor and fragments.
But enough fragments to pay attention.
Exactly. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere if you can help it. We're going to keep gathering reports, and in a minute we'll check the roads, parade status, and anything official coming in from city agencies. Right now, if you were planning on heading into Manhattan for a good time, maybe keep the coffee brewing and wait. Something weird is moving through the city this morning, and nobody has a good name for it yet. We're back, and the picture is getting stranger by the minute. If you've been with us since 8, you already know we started the hour trying very hard not to overreact to what sounded like a bad St. Patrick's Day joke. We are now past the point where I can honestly call this just another holiday mess. We still do not have a clean explanation. We still do not have any kind of official label anybody wants to stand behind. But what we do have now are matching reports from outside New York, rising injury numbers, and repeated descriptions that are getting too specific to ignore.
Boston, Chicago, Savannah, and now some messages from Philadelphia too, although we're still trying to verify those. What's consistent is the clothing, the size, the speed, and the targets. Gold jewelry, pawn shops, watch displays, even family heirlooms, according to one caller waiting on the line right now.
We're also getting internal city numbers, not official final numbers, but enough to tell us NYPD is dealing with dozens of assault reports already, and it's not even mid-morning. I'm told one source put it at 47 cases in roughly an hour involving unusually small suspects. That exact phrase again.
And the station is getting flooded with shaky video. Most of it's terrible. Vertical phone footage, people screaming, green blurs in crowds, useless zooming. But some of it's clearer than I wish it was.
Yeah, let me say this carefully. I've now watched one clip 3 times because I wanted to prove to myself I was seeing it wrong. I am no longer confident I was seeing it wrong.
We have a caller from Queens. Go ahead.
I drive a tow truck. I'm on the west side right now, or trying to be. Everything's clogging up. I saw one of those little things, yes, little things, I don't know what else to call them, run out between stopped cars and grab onto the side of an SUV. Then it ripped the side mirror off like it was peeling fruit. Just tore it off and threw it through a windshield.
How close were you?
20 feet, maybe less. I got out because I thought it was a kid in danger. Then it turned and looked at me. It wasn't a kid. I don't know what it was. Face looked too old, too sharp, and it laughed at me. That's the part I can't get past. It wasn't panicked. It was enjoying itself.
Was it alone?
No, there were 2 more on the median. One had a handful of chains, gold chains, and I swear to God one of them said something in this sing-song voice, rhyming, like a nursery rhyme from hell.
Did police arrive?
They were already there. One officer sprayed one of them point blank, and it barely slowed down. It just blinked and jumped on the hood.
Pepper spray didn't work?
Not like it should. Maybe irritated it, that's it. Then traffic just exploded. People started abandoning cars.
Where exactly are you now?
Still in the truck, trying to head east and get off the avenues. You need to tell people not to come in.
We are. And get somewhere secure if you can. Appreciate the call.
Pepper spray not working is not a detail I love hearing twice.
I know.
We have a report from our producer's cousin in Boston saying the same exact thing. Small figures in green old-style clothing, aggressive thefts, attacks near parade-heavy zones, and weird language. Not yelling, not cursing, rhyming.
I've been trying not to say this because it sounds ridiculous, but the repeated theatricality of it makes it worse somehow, not better.
It makes it feel organized, and I do understand how absurd this all sounds, believe me, but absurd things can still break your ribs.
We also have texts saying some of these attackers are targeting banks and pawn shops, not just people on the street.
That lines up with what we're seeing. Jewelry stores are pulling shutters. Some parade-related storefront events are shutting down early. I've got another caller. Go ahead, you're on RedZone.
I'm in Manhattan, near one of the side streets off Fifth. I work at a little boutique. We weren't even open yet, but I was inside with the owner. We heard banging outside and thought it was drunk parade people being idiots. Then one of those little men, yes, I said men because that's what it looked like, only too small, started slamming the display glass with what looked like a little hammer. But he was too strong. The whole frame bent.
Did he give inside?
No, because my boss hit the security grate, but there were 4 of them out there. 4, all dressed like old-time parade decorations. One of them saw the gold necklaces in the display and started grinning so wide it looked painful.
Were they speaking?
One of them pointed at the window and said something like, "Gleam and glow and glitter bright, all of it's ours before the night." I know you probably think I'm making that up.
At this point, no. I don't think you're making it up. Did police respond?
They drove past once and kept going because something bigger must have been happening nearby. Then people started running from the corner, just full panic running. I closed the back room and hid.
Anyone injured that you saw?
Not right there, but across the street, a man was holding his hand and bleeding. I think they ripped a ring off him.
All right, stay locked down. Thank you.
That ring detail is everywhere.
Yeah, which raises the question I really don't like. Why gold? If this were a normal robbery wave, you'd want registers, phones, easy cash, cars. This is selective. Very selective.
Here's another thing. Some texts say these attackers are avoiding silver-colored stuff and going straight for gold, even when it's fake.
Fake, too?
Apparently. Or maybe they can't tell at a glance.
Great. So now we're trying to profile tiny, violent thieves with oddly specific taste.
You're still trying to make it sound manageable.
I'm trying to stop people from losing their minds. There's a difference.
Maybe, but I think listeners can handle hearing that this is not normal.
Fine. It's not normal.
Thank you.
We've got another city advisory. Not a full emergency interruption yet, but stronger than before. Public advised to avoid parade concentration areas, jewelry districts, and crowded commercial corridors due to repeated coordinated assault incidents. That's broad. That is very broad.
That basically covers half the city today.
Exactly.
Another caller. Go ahead.
I'm calling from the Bronx, but I was downtown earlier doing a delivery. I'm back uptown now. Listen, I know people are saying costumes, but I saw one lift the back end of a parked car. Not all the way, but enough to rock it. And I mean a real car, not some little thing.
What kind of car?
Buick, older model, heavy. It lifted and dropped it because some woman was trying to hide behind it, like it was playing with her.
Was she okay?
I think so. A cop dragged her away while another guy was swinging a baton. Didn't matter much, the thing moved too fast, and there were more coming through the alley. You need to tell people this is not some prank.
We are. What about the face? Everyone keeps describing the face.
Like an angry old man shrunk down into the wrong body. Deep lines, sharp teeth maybe. I couldn't tell for sure. But the eyes? Wrong. Bright. Too bright.
Did it say anything?
Not to me. Just laughed. Then I ran.
Good. That was the right call.
My brother still thinks this is viral marketing. If he calls you, tell him he's stupid.
I'll phrase it more diplomatically, but message received.
That's where we are. People are still trying to fit this into the world they woke up expecting. Viral marketing, flash mobs, street performance, mass prank. And the problem is, every minute that explanation survives, More people keep walking into danger because the human brain hates impossible things.
I think that's what's hitting me too. It's not just the attacks, it's how long everyone keeps trying to rename them into something comfortable.
Because comfortable keeps you functioning until it gets you hurt.
We've got a producer note. More videos are coming in, and one of them appears to show a small green-clad figure mending metal support with its hands. We're not airing it, obviously, but if that's real,
then we're all having a very bad day.
There's also chatter from out of state that all of this is clustered around St. Patrick's Day events. That's obvious on one level, but also weirdly specific on another.
Yeah, big Irish neighborhoods, parade staging zones, pubs opening early, that all tracks. But then the bank and pawn angle shows up, and suddenly it feels less like random holiday violence and more like a rule set we don't understand yet.
You think somebody planned this?
I think either somebody planned it, or something is happening with a consistency that planning usually explains. I do not like the other option.
Say it.
No.
You're thinking it.
I'm thinking listeners are about to flood us with folklore jokes if we even come within 10 feet of saying it, and right now we need facts, not punchlines.
Fair. Then fact. These attackers are being described the same way in multiple cities. Fact. They appear unusually strong. Fact, they appear to want gold. Fact, law enforcement is struggling to contain them.
And fact, if you're at home, you should stay there for now. If you're on the road, avoid Midtown, avoid parade corridors, avoid jewelry-heavy commercial blocks, and don't stop to film if you see one of these things. If they're as fast as people say, your phone is not going to protect you.
We're staying with this. We're not switching topics. We're not doing holiday fluff. We're not pretending this is overblown. Something is spreading this morning, and even if the explanation turns out more ordinary than the witness descriptions suggest, the injuries are real and the fear is real. Stay with us.
10 o'clock in New York, and I need to say this clearly because I was slower to get here than maybe I should have been. This is no longer random holiday disorder. There is a pattern, a hard pattern. Attacks are clustering around gold. Jewelry stores, pawn shops, watches, rings, necklaces, coin dealers, even decorative gold pieces in bars and storefronts. We have enough verified overlap now to treat that as established.
And while we still don't have one clean official explanation, public authorities are now sounding a lot more serious than they were an hour ago. The Fifth Avenue parade has reportedly been postponed over public safety concerns. That alone tells you how bad this is. New York does not lightly postpone a day like today.
No, it does not. We also have the first confirmed fatality linked to this chaos, reportedly a security guard at a gold exchange in the Diamond District. We're being careful because numbers are moving and details change fast, but there are dead now. That shifts everything.
We've also reviewed clearer phone footage. One clip, again, not something we're playing, just something we've seen, appears to show a very small, green-clad figure bending steel bars on a security gate while laughing. If it's fake, it's the fastest, most coordinated fake I've ever seen. If it's real, then we are dealing with something none of the usual public safety language covers.
We have a caller from Midtown East. Go ahead.
I was in a jewelry repair shop with my mother. We had gone in to pick up her bracelet. There was a crash from the front, and one of the employees yelled for everyone to get down. I looked up and saw this little man on the counter. Not a child, not a little person, something else. Green coat, green hat, old style, everything. He was grabbing trays and just throwing the silver aside to get to the gold.
You sure he ignored the silver?
Yes, threw it on the floor like garbage. He took gold chains, rings, even a tiny gold charm from a display case. Another one came through the back door somehow. I don't know how. There were alarms going off, everyone screaming, and one of them looked at my mother's wedding ring and smiled.
Did he try to take it?
Yes, he grabbed her hand and twisted. I hit him with my purse, and he actually looked annoyed, like I had interrupted him. Then the store owner hit him with a metal stool, and it let go for a second. We ran into the repair room and locked ourselves in.
Did law enforcement arrive?
Eventually, but they were shouting outside like they couldn't get a clear shot or something. I heard one officer say, "Why aren't they staying down?"
I heard that through the wall.
That's important. Anything else you remember?
The eyes. Green. Not glowing like a cartoon, just wrong. Bright, sharp, almost lit from inside.
All right, thank you. Stay inside and stay safe.
Why aren't they staying down is not something I wanted to hear today.
No, it isn't. We also have an emergency advisory being repeated citywide now. Avoid individuals in green period clothing. Do not engage. Report sightings immediately. That is about as surreal a sentence as I've ever read into a microphone.
We have another caller. This one's unusual. He says he's an Irish folklore professor.
Of course he is. Fine. Put him through. You're on the air.
I teach comparative folklore and Irish narrative traditions. I know this is going to sound unhelpful and maybe offensive to people who want a modern answer, but if the witness reports are accurate, gold obsessions, small male figures, old clothing, unusual strength, taunting rhyme, aversion to being cornered, then people are describing something very close to Leprechaun tradition.
In what sense? Because most people only know the cartoon version.
That cartoon version is exactly the problem. In older tradition, these beings are not friendly mascots. They're tricksters at best, dangerous at worst. Fiercely possessive, territorial, associated with treasure, secrecy, mockery, and punishment. Not cute, not harmless, and certainly not interested in human comfort.
Are there any protective ideas in that tradition?
Iron appears in many protective traditions broadly, though folklore varies. But I need to stress something. Folklore is not instruction manual certainty, it's pattern memory. If these reports are genuine, then old stories may contain behavioral clues, not perfect solutions.
And the gold fixation?
Central, possessive treasure logic, human greed provoking reciprocal violence. The symbolism fits far too well.
Professor, with respect, people are dead. We are talking about real attacks in modern American cities, not bedtime stories.
I understand that, but when reality begins to resemble old warning stories, refusing the comparison because it feels embarrassing may get more people hurt.
Or it may flood the city with superstition while police are trying to do actual work.
It can be both. I'm not telling people to chant at the sky. I'm telling you the descriptive overlap is extraordinary.
Fine. Extraordinary overlap. That's as far as I'm willing to go right now.
Then go that far quickly.
Thank you for the call.
He wasn't wrong about the overlap.
I know. I hate that I know. That's different.
You don't have to like it to look at it.
All right. Then here's me looking at it. Small figures in green old-fashioned clothing. Violent, fast, strong, gold-focused, rhyming, difficult to stop, possibly appearing and disappearing from enclosed spaces in ways witnesses can't explain. If that exact description had been sent to me as fiction yesterday, I would have laughed the writer out of the room.
Today, you're reading it live.
Unfortunately, yes.
Another caller. Go ahead.
I'm calling from near a pawn shop in Queens. My husband and I were walking back from breakfast when people started coming out of the shop yelling. We thought robbery. Then one of those little green men launched himself through the front window. Not jumped out. Launched. He landed on a parked car, crouched there, and he was holding chains in both fists, like trophies.
Did you get a clear look?
Too clear. Wrinkled face, pale skin, smiling. Teeth looked too sharp. He looked right at me, then at my husband's watch. Gold watch, family gift. I swear this thing sniffed the air like it could smell it. Then it started toward us.
What stopped it?
A sanitation worker swung something metal at it from the side. I think a crowbar. It hissed and backed off. Actually backed off. That's why I'm calling. It reacted differently to that than to anything else.
That's very important. A metal crowbar.
Yes, dark metal. I don't know what kind. Then it scampered away between cars and disappeared.
Did anyone follow?
No one was crazy enough.
Good. Smart. Appreciate the call.
That's our second indirect hint that certain kinds of metal may matter.
I am not ready to build survival doctrine off 2 calls, but I am Absolutely writing it down.
And we need to talk about the reports of vanishing.
Yeah, vanishing is the word callers keep using. Maybe it's speed, maybe it's crowd confusion, maybe it's people losing visual contact and panic, but when enough people keep describing the same impossible thing, you at least log it.
Our feed just got another urgent line from state officials. Governor's office calls the parade postponement a public safety measure related to coordinated attacks and citywide resource diversion. No mention of what the attackers are.
Of course not.
But the fact they're not denying it in plain language is almost worse.
It is worse. Denial would at least give people something to push against. This vague, careful wording tells me they don't know what they're looking at either.
We've got another text from a listener saying one of the attackers snatched a wedding ring right off a finger. That phrase keeps repeating, too.
Yeah, that's not random looting. That's personal. That's invasive. It's not just stealing value, it's selecting symbols.
You sound like you're halfway into believing the folklore explanation.
I'm halfway into believing that reality is no longer interested in my preferences.
That's probably the truest thing you've said all morning.
Listeners, hear me on this. If you have gold jewelry on and you are outside, remove it if you safely can. Put it away. Don't flash watches, chains, rings, anything. I know how insane that advice sounds in relation to what we're discussing, but it's the clearest target pattern we have. Better embarrassed than bleeding.
And businesses with jewelry, bullion, coins, antique gold items, or even high-end decorative metal displays should lock down immediately.
Another emergency line just came in. Avoid engagement. Shelter in place where possible. Report non-human behavior through emergency channels. Non-human behavior. That is an official phrase now being used in advisories. We have crossed into territory I did not think I would ever say out loud on radio.
Neither did I.
But here we are. It is just after 11, and the last hour has broken something fundamental. We've now moved beyond rumor, beyond pattern recognition, and frankly beyond the ability of official language to keep up. The National Guard has been deployed in multiple cities, including New York. Federal, state, and local officials are using phrases like unknown hostile entities and unprecedented event. They are very obviously trying not to say the word everyone is now thinking.
We're going to say something carefully here. The evidence coming in, witness reports, official response level, behavioral consistency, visual descriptions, has forced a conversation that would have sounded insane this morning. We are not saying every internet video is real. We are not saying every rumor is true. But we are saying that what people are describing no longer fits any ordinary public disorder explanation.
Yeah, I fought that sentence for 3 hours, and I can't fight it anymore.
We've got a caller from Lower Manhattan. Go ahead.
I work in an office building, and we were sent home, but nobody can really get anywhere. A little while ago, one of those things got into the lobby. Security saw it on camera first. It looked almost playful, walking around the turnstiles, touching things, smiling at itself in the glass. Then one woman came in wearing a big gold pendant, and it changed instantly. It sprinted at her so fast, nobody moved in time.
Did security stop it?
2 guards tackled it. One got clawed across the face, and the other said it felt like grabbing a metal cable under a coat. That's what he said. Not soft, not human. Strong, twisting, angry. Then it bit him.
Bit him?
Yes, on the hand. And while they were trying to drag her away, it started talking in that sing-song way. I don't remember all of it. Something about gold for the old and debt unpaid. I know that sounds crazy.
Nothing about today sounds sane. Did law enforcement arrive?
Yes, but by then it had gone. The cameras lost it between elevator banks. There's nowhere for it to have gone. It just wasn't there anymore.
All right, thank you. Stay put if you can.
That phrase, debt unpaid, is interesting.
I noticed that too. Too mythic for a robbery crew. Too specific for random taunting.
We also have reports that attacks are spreading beyond parade routes now. Not just Midtown, not just pub zones. Areas with St. Patrick's decorations, themed events, Even stores running holiday specials are getting hit.
Which suggests either a symbolic trigger or a targeting cue. Great. We're profiling creatures by festive density now.
We've got another caller, and this one says one of the attackers spoke directly to him before going after his jewelry.
I'm from Staten Island. I came into the city early for work. I was near a side street off Herald Square. One of them stepped out from behind a newsstand like it had been waiting for me. It pointed at my chain, yes, gold chain, I know, and said, "Bright little sun around your throat, best hand it over, lose no note." I froze because my brain just stopped. It wasn't supposed to be there. Nothing about the moment made sense.
Did it attack immediately?
Not immediately. It seemed to enjoy that I was scared. Then I backed up and it lunged. I shoved a trash can at it and ran. It followed for half a block, quick as anything I've ever seen. Then a city worker came around the corner carrying some kind of iron pipe, and the thing veered off, like it chose not to go near him.
Iron again.
Yeah, whatever that means.
It means we're hearing the same clue over and over. Did you lose the chain?
No, I ripped it off myself and threw it under a parked car while I ran. I didn't care anymore.
Smart move.
I can't believe I'm saying this on live radio, but thank you.
We're all saying things we didn't think we would today.
That iron pattern is getting louder. We are not issuing gospel here, but repeated caller experience suggests some of these entities react differently to iron than to other materials. That is not official, that is not settled, but it is no longer ignorable.
I've also been doing something I didn't expect to be doing on air today. I've been reading up on Leprechaun mythology.
There it is.
There it is.
I hate that there it is.
You don't have to like it. Traditional stories describe them as possessive, solitary, or secretive, associated with hidden wealth, trickery, mockery, and punishment. And in some older beliefs, iron is protective. Again, folklore is not a science manual, but today, folklore is beating official language in terms of useful detail.
Which is maybe the most humiliating sentence ever spoken by modern institutions.
But a useful one.
Fine. Then I'll say the part I've been refusing to say. The witnesses, the attacks, the behavior, the goal obsession, the language, the size, the speed, the response level. If this is not Leprechaun-like, then the universe has gone out of its way to design something offensively similar.
That's as close to acceptance as I've heard from you all day.
Don't enjoy it.
A little.
We have a statement clip summary from a government spokesman. He referred to them as small hostile entities and would not confirm folklore-based speculation. That's where the government is. That's the level of denial we're still operating inside.
Which usually means they're trying to avoid public panic while they figure out what they themselves believe.
Exactly. The problem is, the public is already seeing these things with their own eyes.
And social media is no longer dismissing it as CGI. Too many angles, too many cities, too many injuries.
We've got one more caller this hour.
I'm in Brooklyn Heights. I haven't seen one up close, thank God, but my neighbor did. She came pounding on my door crying, said one climbed her fire escape, 3rd floor, no problem at all. She thought it was a burglar until it started talking to her through the window, telling her to show the shining things. She has old family jewelry from her grandmother, gold brooches. She said it's somehow new.
Did it get in?
No, because her husband grabbed a cast iron pan from the kitchen and stood by the window with it. It backed off. Not afraid exactly, but unwilling. Then it dropped off the fire escape and vanished into the alley.
Cast iron pan.
Yes.
Thank you. That matters.
It really does.
All right. Listeners, we are updating our practical advice based on repeated witness reports. 1. Remove visible gold jewelry. 2. Avoid large gatherings and decorated holiday corridors. 3. If you have access to iron objects for defense, tools, pans, fence pieces, anything substantial, keep them nearby. We are not telling you to go hunting. We are telling you to prepare in case these things come to you.
And if you've been rolling your eyes at this broadcast for the last 3 hours, we get it. We really do. But denial is lagging behind reality right now. and reality is moving fast.
We'll keep saying the truth as we have it. The impossible thing appears to be happening. New York is trying to understand it in real time, and so are we. It is noon in New York City, and I wish I could tell you this hour brought clarity. It brought scale instead. Manhattan bridges and tunnels are jamming with outbound traffic. Reports now place these attackers in all 5 boroughs. We're hearing of incidents in more than 30 states. The word everyone resisted earlier is now being used by some media outlets, some local officials, and more importantly, by people who are just trying to survive long enough to care what it's called.
The mayor has addressed the city and urged people to shelter in place. Schools are scrambling. Businesses are locking down. Hospitals are overwhelmed. We've heard of bite wounds, claw marks, broken bones, and one phrase I never thought I'd read in a news update: gold burn injuries. Some victims appear to have been harmed by contact with objects taken or manipulated by these attackers in ways no one fully understands yet.
We're also getting new reports about abilities beyond speed and strength. Invisibility or near invisibility, sudden weather shifts in isolated areas, things appearing where there was nothing a second earlier. I'm being careful here because panic loves magical inflation, but enough consistent reports are piling up that just strong little men no longer covers it.
And we have a disturbing local note. Security in our building has reported one of them was seen in the lobby less than 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that is no longer abstract for us.
Studio doors are being checked. Staff is moving equipment away from the hall. We're staying on the air.
Until we can't.
We've got a caller from Queens. Go ahead.
My sister lives near a school in Queens. I was trying to get to her when everything froze up on the roads. I ended up on a side street where people were running away from a playground. I thought, shoot her, honestly. Then I saw them. Small, green, fast, all over the place. Not dozens, but enough. Maybe 8 or 9. They were climbing fences, jumping onto cars, smashing windows to get at people wearing chains or bracelets. One of them stood on top of a jungle gym, screaming rhymes about gold like it was a king giving orders.
Were children still there?
Some. Staff were dragging them inside. Parents were losing their minds. I saw one father take off his wedding ring and throw it into the street to distract one. It worked. It went after the ring. That bought them maybe 10 seconds.
Did police or emergency responders arrive?
Cops, yes, but they looked overwhelmed, like they'd already seen too much today. One officer was shouting at people to get inside and stop filming. Another was swinging what looked like a metal baton and actually managing to keep them back better than gunfire had.
Better than gunfire?
I heard shots earlier, around the block. Didn't stop the screaming.
Stay safe, and thank you.
That line about sacrificing the ring to buy time, that tells you exactly how this day is going. People are learning rules by bleeding into them.
We have another caller from Manhattan.
I'm in an apartment near Central Park South, and we've been hearing screaming for 20 minutes. My husband looked out from the bathroom window and said the park is full of movement. Not people moving normally. Waves of little green figures darting between the trees and out into the street. We saw one leap onto the hood of a taxi, crack the windshield with something shiny, and then vanish into a cluster of decorations outside a restaurant. It was like it blended into the green.
Are you safe where you are?
For now. We pushed furniture against the door. But listen, there's something else. The weather changed for maybe 30 seconds, just above our block. Sun 1 second, then this weird little burst of cold rain with sunlight still hitting it from the side, like a half-made rainbow hanging in the air. And right after that, more of them showed up.
You're saying the weather shifted just on your block?
Yes, I know how impossible that sounds.
We passed impossible back around 9:30.
Then here's another impossible thing. One of them looked up at our building, tipped his hat at us through the glass, and smiled.
Lockdown. Stay away from windows if you can, and keep iron near you.
We've got cast iron pans and an old fire poker. That's all we've got.
It may matter more than you think.
Michael, I just got a note. Reports are calling Central Park a no-go zone now.
Great. A supernatural no-go zone in the middle of Manhattan on a holiday. Excellent work, Civilization.
You cope with sarcasm when you're scared.
I cope with sarcasm when I'm awake.
Fair.
We also have a statement from the mayor. Not a long one, but enough. He used the word. He actually used it. New York is under attack by leprechauns. I can't believe that is now a sentence in recorded municipal history.
But it matters that he said it, because the city can stop playing language games and start telling people what kind of threat to watch for.
True. And if the folklore clues keep helping people stay alive, then refusing the word was just another kind of vanity.
We've got another caller.
I'm in the Bronx. We've barricaded the entrance to our building. Old place, lots of wrought iron downstairs. They don't seem to like coming too close. We tested that by accident. One got into the vestibule and started scratching at the inner door. My uncle grabbed a broken iron coat stand and jammed it through the bars at it. The thing recoiled so hard it smacked into the wall.
That is the clearest iron reaction we've heard yet. Did it come back?
It circled outside, kept talking, kept promising to come back after dark. That's another thing. It said, "Daylight dulls, but evening sings." I don't know what that means, but I hate it.
So do I. Were there more nearby?
Yeah, at least 4. Moving down the block, checking cars, stoops, windows. Not random, like they were searching.
Searching for gold?
Gold, and maybe people. Hard to tell which came first.
Keep everyone inside and stay off the stoop, no matter what you hear.
We're not opening that door for anything. Good.
We're also hearing from hospitals that some victims are in shock, not just from injury, but from what they're describing as cursed contact. No idea what that means medically, but it may relate to the Goldburn reports.
Another thing no radio host should ever have to say seriously. And yet, here we are.
Security is back on the line. They're saying movement was seen again near the elevator bank on our floor.
All right, then we keep this focused. Listeners, midday update. 1. The city is effectively under siege. 2. These leprechaun entities are now being acknowledged publicly. 3. Gold remains the clearest target pattern. 4. Iron appears increasingly effective as a deterrent. 5. Shelter in place unless you are in immediate danger and must move.
And 6. Do not assume daylight means safety. If anything, daylight gave us time to learn what we're facing. That does not mean it's under control.
1 o'clock in New York, and we are in a different city than the one we woke up in. The first half of this day was confusion, then pattern, then fear, then open recognition. This hour is something worse. This hour is collapse in sections. We're getting rolling power failures across Manhattan. Cell service is thinning out by neighborhood. Some calls come through clear, some arrive chopped to pieces, some never connect at all. More and more people are moving back to landlines, battery radios, emergency channels, anything old enough to still work when newer systems choke.
We've also had confirmed reports from utility workers that multiple pieces of infrastructure have been damaged in ways that don't line up with normal sabotage. Access panels torn open, metal bent, relay housing shattered, underground service corridors breached. And every time we think we found the edge of this thing, the reports get stranger. We're now hearing repeated accounts of those gold pots, or whatever objects these entities are carrying, being used like weapons. Not just thrown, not just blunt force, something else.
Yeah, we have to talk about that. We've got hospital language now describing flash hardening, skin blistering, metallic residue, and in one case something doctors apparently could not explain at all. There are still too many rumors flying to state any of that is settled, but it is safe to say the threat is no longer just physical attack in the ordinary sense. Whatever these things can do, it's wider than claws, teeth, and speed.
We've also had a deadly evacuation at Times Square. Crowds tried to move all at once, then got hit in the confusion. Some callers say the leprechauns used the panic itself, darting between people, driving them into bottlenecks, hitting from blind spots, disappearing under buses, out of subway stairs, behind barricades, then popping up somewhere else.
In other words, if this wasn't organized before, it sure looks organized now. And I hate saying organized because it suggests command, intention, planning, and strategy. Not random creatures, not a magical weather event, a thinking enemy. We've got a caller on a landline from Lower Manhattan. Go ahead.
I work with fire response. I'm off shift now, or I was supposed to be off shift. Nobody's off anything anymore. We were called to what started as a transit emergency, smoke in one tunnel. But when we got there, people were already running up from the station like the whole underground had turned on them. One guy kept saying, "They're coming out of the walls." I thought he'd lost it. Then I saw them for myself,
Where exactly?
Near one of the downtown subway entrances. We had smoke, alarms, power flickering, people shoving each other to get clear. Then these little green things started coming up the stairs in groups. Not stumbling, not wild, purposeful. One after another, like they knew the terrain better than we did. We tried to hold the top of the stairs and push civilians back, but they were too fast.
What happened when you made contact?
We swung tools, axe handles, pry bars, whatever we had. The steel and iron tools worked better than the lighter stuff. A Halligan bar dropped one for maybe 2 seconds, and I mean actually dropped it. Then it twisted up again, but slower. That mattered. Another guy hit one with a plastic traffic wand and got nothing. One of them threw a little pot, looked like brass or gold, hard to tell, and when it hit the wall near one of our guys, sparks ran over the block like somebody poured molten metal into the air. He screamed, and his arm locked up.
Is he alive?
Last I saw, yes, but he couldn't move the arm. Skin looked wrong, shiny in spots.
That matches what hospitals are calling those gold burn injuries.
Then it's real. Great.
How many did you see?
Dozens if you count the tunnel movement. At least a dozen in the station itself.
And you said they were coordinated?
More coordinated than the crowd, that's for damn sure. They were funneling people, herding them into bad directions.
Stay safe, and thank you for the call.
Herding people. That's the word that keeps sticking in my head. Herding. We spent the morning thinking in robbery terms. We should have been thinking in battlefield terms.
There's another part too, the subway tunnels. If those are active movement routes for them, then the city's entire underground becomes a map we don't control.
Which means nowhere above ground is truly isolated, if they want in badly enough.
I need to say something personal. I've been trying to stay focused, stay useful, not turn this into my own panic on the air. But my family in Queens stopped responding around 20 minutes ago. I don't know if that's network failure, if they're sheltering and keeping the phone quiet, or if something happened. I don't know.
We're going to assume the best until reality forces us otherwise. That's not false hope, that's survival discipline. Most of the city's communications are breaking in pockets. No answer is not the same thing as bad news. Not yet.
I know. I'm trying to remember that.
You're doing better than trying. You're still here.
So are you.
For now. We've got another caller. Go ahead.
I'm in Midtown West. I was trying to get out with my son when the lights started cutting in and out. We got trapped in a pharmacy with maybe 12 other people because nobody wanted to go back outside. There were sounds in the alley, laughing, like children trying to sound old. Then one of them rolled something to the front door. A little gold pot. Not huge, maybe the size of a soup bowl. It hit the floor, and all the metal shelves near the entrance started rattling like magnets were pulling wrong.
Did it explode?
Not like a bomb. It was worse, because it was quiet for a second. Then a man near the door screamed and dropped. He had a gold bracelet on, and it got hot enough to burn into his wrist. I ripped it off him with a towel from the shelf. His skin came with it. My kids saw all of it.
Is your son safe?
He's under the counter right now, with 2 other children and an old woman praying over all of them. Safe enough, I guess. The store owner locked the back exit too, because somebody said there were more of them in the service lane.
Do you still have power?
Barely. Half the lights. Freezer's dead. Register gone. But there's one employee here with a cast iron umbrella stand they pulled from the front. Every time he stands near the door with it, the scratching stops.
Keep him there. Keep everyone low and away from windows. And if those pots come in again, nobody touches them directly. Use cloth, use tools, use distance.
I just need this to end.
So do we. Thank you.
That's the first really detailed account of the pots behaving like more than weapons. That sounds almost reactive, like they interact with gold already on people.
Which means another update for everyone listening. If you are still wearing gold, take it off now. Ring, chain, bracelet, earring, watch trim, anything. Put it away from you. Better yet, get it out of the room if you can do that safely. We're past image. We're past sentiment. You want to tell your grandmother later why you buried her necklace in a flower pot? Good. That means you lived long enough to tell her.
We have military chatter too. Nothing fully confirmed on our end, but multiple sources say armed response teams attempted containment in more than one borough and got hit hard. Not because they lacked force, because these things don't seem to fight like anything our usual response planning is built for.
Conventional tactics assume conventional movement. Lines, sight picture, target acquisition, retreat routes.
Hard to do any of that against enemies that can appear from storm drains, duck under cars, vanish into reflections and decorations, or weaponize the crowd's disbelief.
Another caller. Go ahead.
I'm from Brooklyn, but I was near Times Square when the evacuation went bad. I was helping my boss get an older customer across the block. You know how panic sounds. It stops sounding human after a while. That's what it was. People pressed in so hard they weren't running anymore. They were just being moved. Then the little green things started hitting from the sides, like wolves at a herd, only worse, because they were laughing while they did it.
How many?
I can't tell you. Too many. Enough that it stopped feeling countable. Some on top of kiosks, some down near legs, some grabbing gold, some just slashing and moving. And then, I know you may not believe this, one of them stood on a traffic box and pointed, and it was like the others changed direction instantly, like one signal and they all knew where the rich targets were.
So some kind of command behavior.
That's what it looked like. They weren't just chaotic, they were choosing.
Did anyone manage to fight back effectively?
Construction workers, rebar, iron tools, heavy stuff. That bought a lot of people time.
Then that's another vote for iron.
More than a vote. It's the first thing I've seen make them hesitate.
Thank you. Get safe.
That's the word right there. Hesitate. We do not need magic certainty. We need hesitation. In a day like this, hesitation buys survival.
We've got one more message before the next hour. Reports are spreading that Irish American families are being targeted in some places, whether that's because of visible holiday decorations, names on bars and storefronts, or something more symbolic we don't know yet. But we're hearing phrases from survivors like stolen holiday, cheapened tradition, gold owed, old debt. That sounds less like random violence and more like grievance.
Which is exactly what I didn't want to hear. Because grievance makes this ideological. It gives the attack its own logic. Maybe warped, maybe supernatural, but logic all the same. And if there's logic, then there may also be escalation. There usually is. So here's the update as of 1 o'clock. Power failures spreading. Cell service unstable. Subways compromised. Gold now actively dangerous, beyond just attracting attack. Iron still the strongest repeated point of defense. Crowds are death traps. And whatever this started as, it is no longer just an outbreak of incidents. It is a campaign.
Stay with us. If your phone dies, find a radio. If the internet drops, keep listening. Right now, information isn't comfort. It's infrastructure.
2 o'clock. Federal national emergency declared. Martial law under discussion or already active in parts of multiple states, depending on where you're listening. Major highways are jammed, then broken, then abandoned in segments, as people realize a car line can turn into a trap. The old instincts, get out, get distance, get on the road, are failing people as often as they're helping them. Cities are still danger zones, yes, but the roads between them are becoming long, slow target galleries. Lower Manhattan lost full power in multiple blocks 15 minutes ago. We're on backup systems now. Generator hum in the walls. Half our monitors are dark. The elevator banks are dead. We're running off emergency lights. One stable board. And whatever nerve the staff still has left. Most of the building emptied. Some people fled. Some couldn't reach the exit safely. Some are sheltering on other floors. We're basically a skeleton crew now. And the skeleton crew is staying. Not because we're heroes. Because too many people are still out there making decisions based on scraps. And scraps are getting them killed. We've also had the first sustained good news in hours. Repeated successful defense reports using iron. Wrought iron fence sections. Cast iron cookware. Iron tools. Rebar. Old rail spikes. Anything with weight and actual iron content seems to make a difference. Not magic immunity. Not one-hit salvation. But enough effect to matter. Which means, for the first time all day, we have something close to practical doctrine, instead of terrified improvisation. We've got a recurring caller. He's been trying to get through for a while. Go ahead.
It's me from the Bronx. I called earlier about the building. Listen carefully because we tested it. Not on purpose. They came back. 6 of them this time. Maybe more waiting farther down the block. We stripped the old fence spikes from the side gate. Real iron, old stuff, heavy. Me, my uncle, and 2 neighbors stood in the vestibule and let one of them come too close to the bars. It reached in. My uncle drove the spike through its sleeve and into the doorframe. That thing shrieked like boiling water on metal.
Did it die?
I don't know if die is the word. It went down, twisted, smoked a little. I swear it smoked. And the others backed up hard, not just startled, afraid. First time I've seen them afraid of anything.
That's huge. Did they retreat completely?
For now. They're still on the block, but farther off, watching. And listen, my neighbor's grandmother had dried 4-leaf clovers in a little saint card holder. One of those things wouldn't cross the threshold when she stood there with it.
4-leaf clovers too?
Look, I know how I sound. I don't care anymore. It worked.
No, I believe you. Today is not the day for pretending old knowledge is foolish. Did anyone get hurt in the test?
1 cut, nothing major. We learned fast. Iron first, distance second. No hero moves.
Good. Keep that door sealed and don't chase them outside.
Not a chance.
There it is. Iron confirmed yet again, and now possible support from symbolic protections too. We need to be careful, because panic can turn any coincidence into law. But at this point, the pattern is too strong to dismiss. We're getting similar calls from other boroughs and other states. Makeshift defense groups forming block by block. People sharing what works over radio, police band fragments, handwritten signs in windows, neighborhood text chains while they still function.
Which is how cities survive when institutions wobble. Local knowledge faster than official paperwork.
Another caller. Go ahead.
I'm in Queens. I finally got through. I just want to say to the younger woman on the show, your voice has been keeping people steady. My family was trapped in a basement with 6 neighbors because there were 3 of those things in the street outside. We found an old iron poker from the furnace room, and one of my sons has a good arm. He swung through the stair rail when one of them tried to force the outside door. It backed off so fast it tripped the others.
Did they keep attacking?
For a while. They taunted us, kept saying we were hiding our gold, hiding our debt. We don't have gold, not really. Just wedding bands and 1 chain my husband buried in a bag of rice in the pantry because your station said take it off.
Good call.
Then one of the old women downstairs pulled out a little pressed clover from her Bible. I'm not saying that saved us. I'm saying that timing changed after that. They stopped pressing the door. Maybe they lost interest, maybe not, but it gave us breathing room.
Ren, you're safe now?
Safer. We've still got no real phone service. I had to use the building super's old office line. But I wanted people to know they can fight back. You don't have to just wait to be taken.
That matters. Thank you.
Michael, I got a message through. My mother's safe. Basement. Neighbors. No signal most of the time. She got 1 call out to a cousin who related. She's okay.
Good. Good. Hold on to that.
I am.
You can hear the whole city breathing differently now. Fear is still there, but there's a little structure under it. People can survive almost anything if they think action is possible.
We've also got reports of leprechauns forming larger groups and hitting government buildings, police outposts, municipal yards, and emergency stock locations. That's new. That suggests they're adapting to resistance by going after coordination centers, which means this station may not just be an accidental target. It may become a deliberate one, probably already is. Excellent. Another caller. Go ahead.
I'm calling from Jersey, just outside the tunnel. We tried to evacuate with family, and it was a disaster. Cars deadlocked. Then people started abandoning them when word spread those things were running along the tops of stalled traffic. I saw one drop through the sunroof of a car 3 lanes over. We turned around and went back to a warehouse district because there were iron materials everywhere. That's where we are now, inside a metal fabrication shop with 23 people.
That may be one of the best improvised shelters I've heard yet.
Yeah, because every time one of them gets near the loading bay, the workers hit the tracks with iron bars, and the sound plus the metal seems to keep them off balance.
Sound too?
Maybe. Or maybe they just hate the environment. All I know is we're alive.
Do you have food, water, first aid?
Some, not enough long term.
Then stay put for now. Mobile panic is worse than stillness if you've got defensible walls.
That's what we figured. That's the lesson spreading everywhere right now. Movement is only safety if the place you're moving toward is more defensible than the one you're leaving. Otherwise, you are just delivering yourself to a more public death.
We're also seeing the emergence of something else. Radio-based community. Survival tips, block-level check-ins, lists of who's missing, who's found, which streets are dead, which basements are holding, which hospitals are full, which churches are still open, where the iron gates are strongest, where not to go no matter what.
That may be the beginning of how the country stitches itself through the next hours. If there are next hours.
Don't do that.
Sorry, bad habit.
We're still here. That's the fact that matters.
Right. Updated 2 o'clock. National emergency active. Evacuation routes failing. Iron defenses working often enough to trust. Local groups organizing. Communications fragmenting. And maybe, just maybe, for the first time today, humanity has started answering back. 3 o'clock. If you're listening, that means some chain of electricity, machinery, luck, and human stubbornness is still holding together around you. Treasure it, because a lot of the country isn't that lucky right now. National estimates are impossible to verify cleanly, but thousands dead no longer sounds exaggerated. Tens of thousands missing also sounds possible. Too many places went silent too fast.
We've also just received one of the strangest official warnings of the day from public health and emergency coordination channels. Avoid rainbows. I wish that were a joke. It is not a joke. Multiple field reports suggest rainbow-like light events, mist flashes, and sudden localized color arcs may be associated with Leprechaun movement. Some responders are now treating them like transit markers or openings, though nobody is pretending to understand the mechanism.
That sentence would have gotten me committed yesterday. Today, it's hazard guidance.
We're also hearing that in some places the leprechauns are trying to communicate terms. Not peace terms, demands. Return of stolen gold, respect for old customs, punishment for commercial mockery, that sort of thing. Which raises the question of whether today's timing, St. Patrick's Day itself, isn't just symbolic but central.
Yeah, maybe the holiday didn't just coincide with this. Maybe it triggered it. Maybe all the cheap decorations, fake hats, party slogans, novelty gold, fake folklore plastered across half the country acted like a signal flare. I don't know, but if you wanted to design a day that would draw every one of these things into public at once, this would be the day.
We need to tell listeners what just happened here. About 5 minutes ago, 3 of them got onto this floor.
Yeah, and we are still on the air because somebody in the engineering room kept an old iron mic stand instead of throwing it out last year.
They came through the service corridor, fast, not loud at first. That was the worst part. You think danger announces itself. Sometimes it just appears at the edge of the doorway, smiling.
One got into the outer booth. Another climbed the shelving like it weighed nothing. Third one went low, straight for the equipment rack. We heard the shrieking through the comm line right before it cut.
You got hit.
I got scratched. We're not dramatizing it. It's there, it hurts, but I'm not dead and I'm still upright.
You swung first, though.
I swung because it was between you and the hallway.
Don't make me emotional on live radio.
Fine. Professionalism first, emotional collapse later.
Deal.
We've got a caller. Go ahead.
I'm calling from uptown. My church opened the basement to the neighborhood, and we've got around 40 people down here now. We heard your struggle on the air, and I just wanted to say, people are listening. People are taking heart from the fact that you fought one off and kept talking. Also, Father Murphy says blessed iron works better than plain iron. I don't know if that helps, but he's been walking the room blessing tools like it's the most normal thing in the world.
In a day like today, maybe it is. Have you seen a difference?
We think so. There were scratching sounds at the doors earlier, and every time he pressed a crucifix to the iron latch and prayed, the scratching stopped. Maybe that's faith. Maybe that's coincidence. I no longer care which.
Neither do I. How are people holding up there?
Barely. We have babies crying, diabetics trying to ration insulin, old people asking if the military is coming, kids asking why the men outside laugh like cartoons. But they're alive. That's what matters.
It does. Keep everyone together. Keep the doors reinforced. And tell Father Murphy the city may owe him more than a thank you later.
He'd probably say thank God, not him.
Fair enough.
We've also got a direct note from a neighborhood group in Brooklyn saying they successfully pushed back a cluster of attackers using cast iron radiator pieces after their building super tore one loose from an old unit, which is a sentence that sounds deranged and yet is useful.
That's the whole day in one sentence.
Another caller. Go ahead.
I'm from Long Island City. We set up watches on the roof and in the stairwells. It's weirdly calm right now, which is making everyone more scared, because calm feels fake. We've had 2 of them on the neighboring roof just staring at us across the gap. Not attacking, watching. One of them shouted that by nightfall, all debts come due.
Did they try to cross?
No. We strung iron chain between the fire escape rails after hearing your earlier broadcast. They don't like it, or maybe they're waiting for better odds.
Either way, don't assume inactivity means mercy.
We don't. We're taking turns, keeping tools ready, keeping kids away from the windows. I just called because people should know this part too. Fortifying works. It changes the behavior. They don't own every street if you make a place costly enough.
That's an important message. Thank you.
And to everyone listening, there's another layer now. Neighborhoods are becoming islands. Some are holding. Some are gone quiet. Some have turned into rescue points. Others are traps. If you have local knowledge, trust it more than broad maps. Today, broad maps lie. The block tells the truth.
Government update just came in. Control incomplete. Consolidation to defensible positions underway. That is bureaucratic language for losing ground.
Yeah. When institutions start choosing which places they can still hold instead of which places they intend to retake, you are no longer in emergency management. You are in wartime triage.
We've also lost contact with several stations we were getting relays from earlier. Some went to static, some cut mid-sentence. One apparently switched to automated emergency broadcast loop. Radio is thinning out.
Which means every live voice left on air matters more with every minute.
We've got one more caller. I'm in Harlem with my sister and her kids. We made it to an old building with iron balcony rails and thick doors. We were listening when your studio got attacked. The kids heard it too. I need you to know that when you came back and kept talking, they stopped crying. They thought if the radio people were still there, maybe the world was still there too.
That's generous of you. We're hanging on, same as everyone else.
That's enough. Also, our neighbor says holy water slowed one. Not stopped. Slowed. Just enough for a man with an iron shovel to finish the job.
We are officially at the point where every old world protection story needs to be logged, not laughed at.
About time.
Fair.
Update for the hour. Radio hubs becoming survival hubs. Neighborhoods fortifying. Blessed or symbolically charged items possibly helping. Station attacks increasing. Government losing open control. And dusk getting closer. Everyone feels that last part, even if nobody wants to say it out loud.
I'll say it. We've heard enough from enough places to suspect these things may get stronger, bolder, or simply more numerous as evening comes on. If you have daylight left to improve your position, use it now. 4 o'clock. The light outside has started to soften, and the entire city feels like it's bracing without knowing exactly what for. We've had reports all afternoon suggesting that dusk changes things. Maybe strength, maybe aggression, maybe movement patterns, maybe just human fear meeting a darker sky. But every signal we have says the hours ahead are worse, not better.
International updates are also getting through in fragments. Ireland itself has been hit hard. That matters, not just symbolically, but because some of the reports there mention older sites, buried hoards, church ruins, places tied to pre-modern stories. If this began as a grievance, a return, a reckoning, whatever word fits best, then this may be far bigger than an American holiday nightmare.
The president addressed the nation from a secure location a little while ago. Promised response, promised unity, promised that the federal government was adapting. It sounded like what leaders say when the words are arriving faster than the solutions.
We've also lost almost all contact with other independent stations we were tracking. Some public relays remain, mostly loops and warnings. Live voices are getting rare.
Which means if you're hearing us now, you may be hearing one of the last normal conversations still happening in this city. Normal enough, anyway.
We've got a caller on a military line patch. Go ahead.
I'm a Marine reservist. My unit never made it to where we were told to go, because by the time the order came through, the roads were already compromised. We're regrouping with local people in a rural safe zone upstate. And yes, I said safe zone, but don't romanticize it. Safe just means defensible for the moment.
What are you hearing from broader command?
Fragmented retreat and consolidation. Urban centers too complex. Too many access points. Too many panicked civilians. Too many places for them to move unseen. Rural strongholds are easier because you can control approaches, and iron is easier to gather in quantity from farms, rail yards, tools, machinery.
So cities are being partially abandoned?
Not officially, but functionally, in places, yes.
What should people in cities do if they cannot leave?
Fortify vertically or inward. Interior rooms, basements, buildings with heavy iron fixtures. Don't waste daylight on last-minute long-distance escapes, unless you know your route and your destination are real. Half the dead we saw were people stuck between plans.
That may be the best single piece of advice all day.
Also, one more thing. We've heard from old-timers and local clergy that St. Patrick's Day itself may have acted like a beacon. The decorations, the drinking songs, the gold gimmicks, the mockery. Don't know if it's true, but the timing's too exact to ignore.
Understood. Thank you. Stay alive.
Stuck between plans. That's the phrase. The old world trained us to believe motion was always progress. Today proved motion can be surrender if the destination is fantasy.
We also need to say something hard. Some of our recurring callers haven't come back. Some numbers ring dead. Some lines connect to nothing. Some people we heard from this morning may not be here now.
And that's what turns this from a crisis into a dividing line in history. Not just the scale, the silence, the moments when familiar voices stop answering, and the world becomes a list of absences. Another caller. Go ahead.
I'm in Queens. I've been listening all day. My street is gone quiet, which scares me more than the noise did. There are pots of gold, or something like them, sitting in places where cars were this morning. I'm not joking. Just sitting there, gleaming, like bait or trophies. One of my neighbors said not to look at them too long.
Why?
He says when his son stared at one through binoculars, he started repeating a rhyme under his breath without realizing it, like he was hearing something. We pulled him away, and he snapped out of it. Maybe shock, maybe stress. But I'm telling you because weird details keep being the useful ones.
That is useful. People listening, do not approach abandoned pots, caches, or piles of gold-like objects. Treat them as active hazards. That includes visual fixation if this caller's account proves repeated elsewhere.
Also, my block had 6 families this morning. I can only account for 4 now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Stay inside. Do not investigate after dark.
We won't.
Michael, you've gotten quieter this last hour.
I think I'm just catching up to the shape of it. This morning we thought the world had gone weird. By noon we thought the city was under siege. Now I think the old world may already be over, and nobody's found the right tense for that yet.
That's bleak.
It's honest.
Honesty still leaves room for people, for neighborhoods, for holding, for rebuilding later, if later comes.
Fair. Then here's a more useful honest thing. Old stories survived because somebody kept remembering them after everyone else got comfortable. That matters today. Not because nostalgia saves you. Because memories sometimes store survival knowledge in forms modern people are too proud to open until the roof is already burning.
That might be the most radio host philosopher thing you've ever said.
I've had a long day.
Same.
Another tremor just went through the building. Not from weather. That felt structural. We've had reports of larger-scale coordinated attacks in this district over the last 15 minutes. So we may notch an end to the next hour.
Then we use the time we've got. Update for listeners. Dusk approaching. Caution increasing. Possible lure objects appearing in neighborhoods. Broader government control thinning further. Urban survival now mostly local. And history itself feeling like it bent sometime around breakfast. And forgot to bend back.
5 o'clock. Generator fuel low.
Backup lights flickering. Building alarms no longer trustworthy because they've been going off in random cycles for an hour. We can hear movement below us that does not sound human. And the security channel is dead. So this is where we are. If this becomes our last hour on the air, we are going to use it for the only things that matter now. Useful information, last instructions, and whatever human steadiness we can still lend through a speaker.
The emergency broadcast system may take this frequency at any moment. If it does, listen to the automated warnings, but understand that automation can't improvise for your exact hallway, your exact stairwell, your exact terrified child, your exact neighborhood gate. We can still improvise. So while we're here, we're staying.
Final practical summary first. Iron works. Not perfectly. Not always. But repeatedly enough to trust. Blessed iron may work better. 4-leaf clovers. Holy items. Old symbolic protections. Uncertain. But too many consistent accounts to dismiss. Gold attracts attention, and may actively interact with their tools or traps. Remove it. Hide it away from your body and sleeping area. Avoid rainbows, mists, shimmering color arcs, and unattended gold caches. Do not travel, unless your destination is confirmed and more defensible than your current position.
Fortify inward or behind iron if you can. Don't answer voices at the door just because they sound familiar. We've had too many reports all afternoon of mimicry, taunts, and spoken lures. If you have children, keep them away from windows and away from shiny objects, no matter how pretty they look. If you have elders, keep them warm, seated, and informed just enough to follow instructions without drowning them in details.
We also want to say something to everyone who's been with us since morning. We remember how this started. Rumors. Jokes. Parade weather. We remember laughing because it felt impossible not to. If you survived this day with us in your ear, then you know exactly when the laughter died.
We've got a final caller. Go ahead. I'm alone. I think I'm alone. I'm a kid. I don't know if I'm supposed to be calling, but I found an old phone in my neighbor's apartment, and your station was written on a paper by the radio. My parents went downstairs to help someone, and they didn't come back yet.
You did the right thing calling. Listen carefully. Are you inside an apartment with the door locked?
Yes.
Good. Are the lights on?
A little. They keep blinking.
That's okay. Stay away from the windows. Go somewhere in the apartment that has the fewest doors and no glass if possible. A bathroom or closet is fine if it can fit you safely. Do you hear anyone outside the apartment right now?
I hear laughing. Not all the time, just every now and then, like someone remembers I'm here.
Okay, listen to me and not to that. Do you have anything made of iron near you? Pan, tool, anything heavy and dark metal?
There's a frying pan.
Good. Bring it with you, and take the radio or phone if it has a cord long enough. Stay low. Don't answer the door for anyone unless you hear your parents say a sentence you choose right now. Something only they would know to say.
Like what?
Pick a memory. Something tiny. Something not guessable.
Okay. Blue kite on the beach.
Perfect. If anyone knocks and doesn't say exactly that, you stay quiet. Understand?
Yes.
You're doing great. Better than a lot of grown-ups would.
I'm trying not to cry.
Crying is fine. Opening the door is not. Remember that difference.
Okay.
We're going to stay with you as long as we can.
Producers got a side channel update. Neighbors on that block may have gathered survivors in a lower unit. We're trying to verify. Hang on with us.
Okay.
You still there?
Yes.
Good. Keep breathing. Tell me what room you're moving to.
Bathroom. No window. I have the pan.
Good girl. Sit against the tub, not the door.
Okay.
While we hold with her, one more broad message to everyone listening. If you are together, stay together. If you are hidden, stay hidden. If you are defended, don't waste that defense on curiosity. The world after today will need survivors more than it needs explanations tonight.
We've got the update. The neighbors are there. Her parents, too. They got trapped in another unit and are moving floor to floor now with the people in the building. They've been told the phrase.
Really?
Really. You may hear them soon. Remember, only if they say it exactly.
Okay.
That's bravery right there. Remember that, everybody. The world may be ending in parts, but courage is still incredibly ordinary. It sounds like a frightened kid with a frying pan doing exactly what she's told.
Michael?
Yeah, I hear it.
They're at the outer door.
Then we keep talking while we can. Final instructions repeated. Iron. Faith if you have it. Old knowledge if you dismissed it before. Keep gold out of reach. Stay off the roads unless there is no other choice. Don't chase noise. Don't trust beauty in the wrong place. Don't follow laughter.
And take care of each other. That part matters as much as any weapon. Neighbors, strangers, children, old people, whoever is in the room with you. That is your world now. Protect it.
To everyone who called, to everyone who listened, to everyone who thought this morning would just be green beer and traffic and bad songs. None of us asked for the day we got. But if there is a future after this, let it remember that people stayed human right to the edge.
Wait. She's hearing them.
Someone's here. Ask for the phrase. Say the thing.
Blue kite on the beach.
That's them. That's them.
Go. Go now. Pan in your hand. Stay low.
Thank you.
Go.
That's one.
One is enough to matter.
Door. Now.
Yeah.
They're hitting it.
Then this is it. This is Michael Hale, RedZone Radio. If this is our last broadcast, know this. You can survive longer than fear says you can. You can learn faster than panic says you can. You can hold a line you never imagined having to hold.
Use iron. Use memory. Use whatever old truths the modern world laughed at. And if you live through tonight, tell the story right. Tell it without the jokes. Tell it like it cost something.
Because it did.
Michael.
I know.
They're through the outer room.
Then to whoever finds this frequency after us, keep it live. Keep people talking. Silence is how the dark wins cheap.
And to New York.
We loved you loud.